it got moved over because I'm not on the regular. All right. So
It says record up in the corner.
yeah, now it does. I've got it. Okay. So are you guys seeing the slide here?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, so basically this is the MO tonight, and pretty typical. We'll go through, we'll talk about current news, which there is finally some. Al's put some stuff together. We do the volunteer and member announcements. We're gonna do tech Q&A. And actually, Bob, you have some election stuff to talk about briefly? Was that correct?
Yes, I do.
One sentence. I'll be
Okay.
sending out instructions sometime in the next week.
All right, so we'll do that. In fact, why don't we go ahead and do both of those things? Because Mr. Ress, you have something, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so why don't we start with Bob White and then Bob Ress?
Oh, I already said what I was going to say.
Okay, so Bob Ress.
Okay, at this, we have 3 candidates for the 3 offices this year. And basically, they are the current office holders continuing. So that we have Thomas Spencer for vice president, Al Trivet for one of the directors, and Rich Pearson for the other director.
So we still need about 80 some people to vote to make it a valid election. So don't use that as an excuse to not vote.
And when does it go out? October 1st, Bob?
October 1st till 4 p.m. on the day of the next meeting.
Yeah, so you'll be able to vote electronically, and it'll you'll get an email. So don't think it's spam. It's pretty easy to vote, and of course the choices are pretty easy also. So thank you.
Base requirement is you're a member in good standing as of tonight. So
Okay, fantastic. So Al, take away current news.
Hey, can I share my screen now?
Yeah, let me find my cursor so I can unshare mine. And there we go. Why is it? No, there we go. Go for it, Al.
Okay, let me see here. All righty. As you can tell here, I'm on the MacNexus Facebook page, and it's been a pretty eventful.
Not sharing.
Not sharing. Okay.
sharing
How about that one?
Nope.
Okay. Oops, not that one.
If you do desktop and then bring it over is usually the best.
And then share. How's that?
It is about to. There you go.
There you go. All righty. We are looking here at the MacNexus Facebook page here. It's been a pretty eventful couple of weeks with the release of the new watch and lots of iOS 14 information out there, and so I've been pretty busy posting stuff from a wide range of sources and stuff. There's also there's currently a rumor, I guess, about the Apple iPhone 12 event. They're shooting for October 13th, I guess. Little some scuttlebutt about that. Okay. There's
That actually happens to be, oh no, never mind. I thought we had a meeting around then, but we don't.
yeah. Are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the iOS 14, it's kind of ushered in an era of a lot of customization for folks' home screens. It's pretty popular among young people, but for folks who want to indulge and stuff, there's a wide assortment of tools and stuff coming out. And this link here I've got that you're seeing now talks a little bit about it. It's from Apple Insider. And there's some software that folks have put out for these things called widgets, give you a great deal of customizability. There's an app called Widget Smith that you can go get that you know, it's pretty versatile. Lots of folks, I haven't played with it much. I've just read some of the reviews.
Looks pretty cool. I did too.
Yeah.
I haven't played with it yet either.
Yeah, yeah. I'll spend some time fooling with that.
And the links to all of this stuff are over in the chat window.
Yes.
And then Bob will put them in a blast too. So you can follow, you can check out all the stuff Al's going through, which is great stuff.
Yeah. This is this link has quite a bit of stuff here. Pretty straightforward. It's, you know, if you're one of those that really likes to play with the look of your home page, your home screen, you know, it's a new day. So I'll leave it there for your perusal. The link is in the chat. Also here with iOS 14, there's a new messages app that's been augmented. It's I'm really liking the ability to pin individuals at the top of my text. If you're like me, you have, you know, pages and pages worth of text for a wide assortment of people and stuff. And I hate having to scroll through pages of text just to find a person I'm going to send another text to. So with the ability to pin some of your most favorite ones at the top of the page, it really makes it a pretty seamless thing to do. So really excited about that. This link has a wide assortment of other little things to there's a little video there as well. Give some information about how to name a group message conversation. There's instructions there on how to pin a conversation. It's pretty straightforward. It's really pretty easy. How to see mentions in messages. I'm not sure what that's all about. Ken, you got any idea what that is? Mentions in messages.
No, I think it's a conversational kind of thing, because
Okay.
you can kind of do you can semi-mute groups now. If I'm a group chat, I think it has to do with that.
Okay. Great.
But you know, Pete may cover some of this stuff too. So
Yeah. I'm sure inevitably he'll get into the nuts and bolts of some of this stuff. Pretty exciting. I'm really thus far I've been pretty happy with iOS 14. It hasn't been too wonky or anything for the, you know, initial release iteration of it. So, you know, I got my, just like Ken, I got my Apple Watch today, my Series 6. And so you had to have iOS 14. So it's been nice. It's been nice. Your new iOS 14 also has a new control center with, and this link here has a primer on some of the features. And does someone else have some background?
yeah, somebody's got some audio going. I'm trying to figure it out. Could it be yours?
A lot of different things. You've compared us to Sweden, and there are a lot of differences.
Has somebody else got some audio going on their computer? Please mute yourself. Thank you.
All right. All righty. See, where was I here? Inline replies. Yeah, the control center. There's some new stuff in there. This link talks about them in briefly about the use of some of the HomeKit devices in the control center. How to choose home devices from your control center, has a little primer on that. Bit of a different look and feel. You know, it's not too bad. Has even a thing there, how to remove HomeKit from control center if you so choose, and some customization tips on in the control center as well. And yeah, moving on. Let's see. Let's see here. There's iFixit, the repair company that tears things down for all our benefit to get down to the guts of the hardware, has some general information. I guess the Series 6 has a larger battery and a new Taptic engine. It's shows some pictures of the guts of the new Series 6 watch. It's amazing to me how they get this much technology in such a small space. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, now they added the oxygen sensor. It's just
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. So pretty impressive, you know, the degree of miniaturization and all this, you know, billions of, yeah, it's impressive on so many fronts. Another little update from Apple for Pages, Numbers, Keynote. It's updated a suite of iWork apps to include new features introduced in iOS 14, iPad OS 14, and some other enhancements to the OS.
Yeah, it supports the new Scribble.
Yeah, it supports the new Scribble. I have an iPad Pro, so and the Apple Pencil too, so I'm definitely going to be playing with that a bit. Looking forward to doing that. And here's a couple of pages. I guess you can use Scribble to write by hand with an Apple Pencil, and your words will automatically convert to text. Select from new report templates to help you get started. Enhance your documents with a variety of new and editable shapes. Easy to find pictures and videos using your new zoom and search capabilities and the redesigned image. That's in the new Pages. Love Pages. So, you know, whenever they have a new hardware release, you know, it's nice that they continue to update all their software to drive all this stuff. 9 to 5 Mac, they have a brief little blurb about which states are actually using Apple's exposure notification API for COVID-19. It's amazing how many folks aren't. I mean, I understand the privacy considerations, but here's a list on the state by state basis here that, and then I guess 9 of 57 states and territories participating. So if there's a state that you're interested in that kind of stuff, they'll give you the lowdown.
Cool.
And for one final thing here, for if you want a quick overview of iOS 14, iMore, lady Christine Chan has a pretty thorough dabble in each major topic. I've gone through here and it's pretty thorough. So pretty exciting. Some of this picture-in-picture capability, and of course HomeKit and Siri, and they actually have Apple's got a translate application now that I've been playing with. There's quite a few translate apps out there and stuff, but I'm glad that, you know, they have something hardwired to the OS and stuff. Have you had a chance to play with it at all, Ken? I know you travel quite a bit.
No, I haven't. I just downloaded it yesterday, but I have not had a chance to. Been a little busy.
And there's some the AirPod Pros have had I guess a new firmware update, and so that's, if you're one of those of us who have those, it's pretty helpful.
I have to comment on your dock down there, Al. I love that you still have iPhotos and you have Sling Player, for gosh sakes. You know, you're like, you know, it's like that's back to Rainbow Mac kind of time. So
I know we still have, my wife and I still use a Sling Player occasionally to send stuff that's in our living room to wherever we're at. You know, if we have a strong enough internet connection and stuff.
yeah,
it works.
pretty wild.
Keeps us abreast and stuff.
Cool.
Anyway, those are the major topics, and all of these
And
are,
the links are there. And what he may do is he may copy and paste them, because some people are mentioning that the links aren't showing up because they came into chat late. Bob will email it, but what you could do, Al, when you're done here and you get a chance, I would just do a copy and paste of the whole set of links again.
you know, I tried to do that from the document I composed for this stuff, but it won't let me paste the whole document in.
No,
you know?
no, it won't. But I'm just saying, do the chat, redo the chat.
Okay.
Just copy and paste the whole mix of it.
Okay.
Let's see. Somebody's saying I tried to add widgets to my home screen. Doing so really messed up the sorting. Yeah, you can, from Jan, you can address that with Pete when he gets on and does his presentation. Is there a way to have, more about it? Apps knocked out to their folders while serving a widget. And you can go ahead and unshare yours if you want, Al.
Sure. There you go.
And Dale says he was here before it started. What, before everything started or just the meeting? Dale's been here since the beginning of time. All right, let's see here.
Okay. Here's
Okay, so moving right along, we're going to do member and volunteer announcements. So Mr. Donovan Hillman,
Yes, I'm here.
let
I
me
just wanna welcome
spotlight you.
Okay,
So when we spotlight somebody, it changes it to gallery view or to speaker view. So you go up to the right-hand corner and change your view back to gallery view is how it works.
there I
All right,
am.
Donovan, you're up.
All right, well, I just want to welcome any new members we have here tonight and remind people it's much easier to have people check us out now because they just need to hop on their computer and see what we're up to. So that's about it. You can, I have my email at the end of my articles, and if somebody has a question, then feel free to send me an email.
And they are great. I mean, it's really fantastic. Even though we're recording all these meetings, I think he encapsulates it really, really conscientiously in there. And
Yeah, and I too am trying to post the links at the end of my article. I
oh,
don't know.
great.
I haven't checked to make sure if Bob puts them in there or not.
All right. So thank you, Donovan. I appreciate that. And do we have any other members or volunteers that have any announcements? This would be the time.
I have something I'm looking to get rid of. Does that count?
Yeah.
So
I'm
this is,
wanting to get rid of 2020.
yeah, we're hoping for that.
Amen.
This is a carrying case for an iPad. And I bought it on sale online, and because it was on sale, I couldn't return it. It seems to be for an iPad Air because I could not get my iPad to fit in it. Couldn't return it. Anyway, it's got the, you can stand it up.
Cool.
Standard size, 9 and a fraction in this dimension and 11 and a fraction in the cross dimension. I would love to find a home for this. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to give it away. But it's real leather and it's red.
Cool.
Anyway, if anybody's interested.
So you guys, you can use the chat window if you'd like. And instead of doing it to everyone, you just in the chat window, pick her name and you can message her directly and that would work great. It's Elaine Hebert.
Thanks.
So thank you. Anybody else? Any other things? All right. So let's move on. Are there any notes back in the purple colored Mac so we can get any messages out? We've got a couple people asking questions here. So Ray, go ahead.
I only had one, and I took care of him a couple days ago.
Oh man, you're no fun.
Sorry.
That's okay. So any news on the SE Plus iPhone? I don't know of anything. Al, you haven't heard anything on that, have you?
No, other than what they released in the, the keynote thing that they had.
Yeah, we'll know a lot about. We'll know a lot if it is October 13th. We'll know more then. The rumor is that they're going to call the one iPhone 12, the small one that's the SE size, the mini. So it'd be the 12 mini and then the Pro and the Pro Max. And then I don't know. It's kind of so. Dennis, that's a big wine glass.
Oh, right.
If you hold it a little bit to your right, though, it's stealth. We can't see it. So anybody is free to unmute yourself or tap your participant screen and raise your hand, and I can try to answer any Mac technical questions for you. Anyone. Either raise your hand or unmute yourself and just ask out loud.
Okay, our question is, we suddenly have, when my husband's iPhone rings, it rings on the computer.
Uh-huh.
And we didn't ask for that. We don't want it. It's distracting. Where do I go to fix that?
All right, so let me be sure. So you go go to your phone and go to settings.
Okay.
And because they may have switched, are you on iOS 13?
No, this is an oldie. So it's like, I don't think it won't even take 13. It's so 10.3.3.
Wow, that's testing me. Because what it is, it's repeating it from your phone, and it's not in the phone setting. Anybody else? Okay, yeah. Go to settings, phone.
Okay.
And then there's one that says call forwarding.
Okay.
And is that on?
It's thinking.
Okay.
No, it's not on.
Okay. Somebody else had something they popped up a minute ago?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's above that. Calls on other devices.
Okay. That's off.
It is.
Yeah.
Or has to do with FaceTime, Kim.
Yeah,
It's-
I went to FaceTime and on hers it might do it. But
Kim,
yeah,
it's the Bluetooth
no,
setting.
it's not in Bluetooth.
It is on my phone.
Oh.
What does it say on Bluetooth?
I have other devices, my name and the 1009 iMac, my MacBook Pro, and my watch.
Yeah,
And
but
it
that's
rings on all
not,
those.
that's only for Bluetooth. That has nothing to do with transferring phone calls.
Well, would it hurt anything to turn Bluetooth off? Because I see it's on. So what?
It won't fix this because they would go through
Oh.
Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
Look at your FaceTime and
on
turn
your older
FaceTime
one,
on.
yeah, I was just going to say on your older one, I think it was in FaceTime. So go to FaceTime, which was right in your phone. In 14, it's not there.
Yep. Okay. I see that.
And what are your read off some of those?
Can be reached by FaceTime at, and there's his phone number. There's his email address,
Okay.
caller
Then-
ID,
but keep going.
add another email.
No,
calls-
keep going. Calls
no,
what?
that's, that it just under that it says blocked, and there's a list of calls blocked, if there were any.
Well, so Google, and you say you're on 10.3. So 10.3, how do I make calls go to my computer? And then you'll, of course, undo it the way it says. That would be the thing I would Google and see.
Okay, I like it. Okay.
And if not, I can try later for you. So
Okay.
Barbara, you have a question. Go ahead.
I do.
Thank you.
I just got my Costco ad for next month. And in it, I don't really know what these are. I've heard of them, wireless QI charging pad.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what they're
G,
used
actually.
for.
So if you have
G,
an
okay.
iPhone 8 or newer,
Uh-huh.
or the newer versions of the AirPods, they use G charging, and it's essentially where you set the device right on the charging pad and it will charge it without a cable.
Okay, so AirPods and iPhone, I could do my iPhone, but there's two of them and they're $29.99, and I want to know if that's a good brand and a good price.
That's an okay price. I mean, you probably don't need two of them, and frankly, they're flat pads, right?
They look like it, yeah.
Yeah, I actually prefer an easel stand. So my phone is set up as an easel, and it does it so that way you can look at it. It's easier to see if you want to tap it at night to see what it says and stuff. So I just get them from Amazon, and I usually get Anker, ANKER, and you're going to get one for probably around $15 to $20.
Oh, okay.
And there's some other brands out there too.
Okay, thank you. And
But
so then
look
when you
for
use
G, and it's QI, G charger. Oh, Randy Hare, hold that up. Randy Hare's holding up an easel mount right there. Hold it in front of you. There you go.
Well, that's
Say
black.
something,
And
Randy, so your name so your thing comes up. It'll make your screen go up.
Here's the Anchor easel in front of me, and actually Amazon had it.
Oh,
like
Al's holding his up
Al
too.
has one too. So it was.
So you just set your phone on it?
Yes, and it
Yes.
charges just.
I have a new one I just got,
okay.
and I'm really happy with it. It's an easel stand. It's an easel stand for the phone. It's got a little lightning spot to put your AirPod case in. It will charge the original pencil, and it's got a hanger on it for my Apple Watch.
Oh,
Wow, everything.
It's
Okay.
amazing. I will go ahead and put that link in there because it was like 20 something bucks and it was killer. So
Ken, this is Karen. I
Yeah,
just
hi.
got one. Doesn't do the pencil, but it does do my watch, my phone, and my AirPods.
yeah, but I notice your watch is hanging that way, so it doesn't put it in nightstand mode. Mine does.
Right, but I mean, it takes up less space. The
Yeah, well,
footprint
mine
on this one
folds
is
so I can
smaller.
take it for travel. But if you want to link that one, Karen, that would be wonderful.
Okay. And
Oh, I'm
also
going into-
some of them make you put your watch flat, which doesn't work with some bands.
Yeah.
So having the watch hang works.
Yeah, it hangs in nightstand mode at an angle.
Well,
So I'll
mine's
put-
on my wrist at night, so I don't have it up here. at
Oh,
night.
that's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll put the link.
Ken,
Yeah.
uh,
Go ahead.
my wife has a question.
So
Okay.
I have a question. I can't get a shared photo album. I created it. I have one person that was able to share in the same group. The other two have said they've shared, but I haven't received their pictures.
And who started the shared album?
I did.
And they haven't received it. And how did you send?
They did receive the invite, and they say they have shared the pictures, but I'm not seeing them.
Okay.
Because I thought initially, I went to settings to make sure shared albums was on.
So you might turn it
For
off
me.
and then on, or resend them an invite. But the other thing is, on your shared album, you might have to make it public.
I did. And then
Okay.
when I did that, I got the one person's, but the other two never came in.
Got
Do
it.
you think, might they not have their shared albums turned on?
Well, did you send them the link to it, and how did they get it? It should turn it on, but yeah, they may have to turn shared albums on. But when you send the link, I would think that it would prompt you for that.
Yeah.
Ken,
Yeah.
Ken, it's Melissa.
Yeah. Go
If
ahead.
you go to your shared album,
Yeah.
you'll be able to see who has been invited
Yes.
and whether or not they've accepted the invitation.
Yes. Yes, and they have accepted.
Yeah, you might send a re-invite and then turn it on and off is the only thing I can think of.
Okay.
Oh.
I'll try.
Yeah. And the other thing you can do is, if you make it public, rather than, so you can even share an album with people on non-Apple products. And what you do is you share it as a public link, and then it kind of just accesses it on the cloud.
Yeah. Okay.
So here's
People
this.
cannot post to,
No,
to a public album. It's
Right.
only the Apple ecosystem.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
here's this little $21.99. You'll see that it's and the nice thing is it comes with a high output charger. So it'll charge all your devices like that. And it's the original Apple Pencil, and then the iPhone and you can see that the watch is in nightstand mode. And then they have this other one. And what's the difference? I guess it's just color.
Hey, Ken, why is it called wireless charging?
Because it is.
Seems like it doesn't get plugged in, but
Well,
isn't
it
this
is
plugged
wireless.
into
There's
the
no
wall?
wire. You're charging your phone without wires, so it is wireless.
No, is this device plugged into the wall?
Yes, but that's not part of the wireless charging. It has to get power somewhere. There are companies working on wireless over Wi-Fi, but it's going to be a while. So, and it will be, it's magic when it happens. But no, it is wireless charging because you don't have to do the phone or the watch. It's inductive charging. Carol, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Does anyone have the Xfinity X Pods, those little white plug-in things, and do they work at all?
So those are Wi-Fi extenders, correct?
Right.
Anybody want to chime in on that? Anybody?
I have them and they do work. I only needed 2, but I have a house with that's kind of like a Faraday cage, and it really helped a lot get it to get the Wi-Fi signal.
Okay, great. Thanks. Appreciate that.
And speaking of Faraday cage, because let's see, is he on here? Well, anyway, I had somebody who had an old house in Sacramento and they had built onto it, but couldn't understand why Wi-Fi wouldn't work in one area of the house. And I had, first of all, thought maybe they did steel stud in this new addition, but it was actually in the old part of the house. And he had lath and plaster. And lath and plaster, when you put old lath and plaster on, the first thing they put up is chicken wire. And chicken wire blocks all kinds of signals. So just a little thing. And also for real good Wi-Fi reception, think about everything in your house that's below countertop and everything that's above countertop. And if you have your router below countertop, not only does it have to go through the bodies, through the TVs, through the couches, all the pots and pans and things like that. So your router should be countertop or higher. Go ahead.
Okay.
Ken, you mentioned that the phones were on nightstand mode. What is that?
No, not the phone, the watch.
What does that mean?
So I'll show you because I think it showed on that when I do that screen share. Hang on. Yeah, so nightstand mode on the watch, it used to only work if it was horizontal. But now what it is when the watch is, am I shared yet? It seems to be stalling. It's not doing it. Are you guys there? Do you hear me?
Yes, it's not sharing yet.
Okay.
It says it started, but
it's
still,
trying, but I got the beach ball. I got a
we
bunch of
got
stuff running.
The circling spot.
Yeah, and I can't even undo my. Can one of you co-hosts try to undo my screen share, please?
Hey, Pete dropped in a little bit ago, so if just letting y'all know. Hello.
Hey, Pete.
Hey.
All right, did that screen show up, you guys?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so nightstand mode, you can see the watches on here on the side, and let me see if there's any better picture of it. But nightstand mode, there you go. There's a picture of nightstand mode. So it shows you that all you have to do, if it's on your nightstand, you tap the nightstand anywhere and it creates a little bit of a movement, and it shows the time and it shows the charge state at that point. So you don't have to touch the watch. You just I just touch my nightstand anywhere. Just a little tap is enough to make it turn on. And then the rest of the time the screen will go black so you're not doing it. This is just a great charger for $22. So, and it folds up for travel. This easel folds down and works great.
So he said it's the first generation pen, not the second?
It's the first generation because the second one charges from the iPad. This is the one that charges from the lightning cable. Yeah. And the nice thing about it is most of the time when you get a watch charger or an AirPod charger and things like that, they make you put your own cable. I had to put no cables in this. This included all the cables needed for the 2 lightnings and the 2 wireless charging for the phone and the watch. And it did come with a high amperage USB-C charger and cable to the stand.
Wow. So,
and that link is in the over in the chat window, and I'm going to unshare now.
Hey, Ken, just one question on that first generation pen.
Yeah.
I found the hard way. I got one for Christmas, and that set for a while, and it never recovered. It would never charge again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
let mine sit for a long time.
Probably 6, and I read up on it and it said that if you let it set for too long, the battery will trickle out and it won't recover.
And did you try doing it direct from the iPad at any point?
Plug it in the side of the iPad, it would sometimes show up when you pulled it out, it would disappear off the iPad. So the pen has to be charged, on a regular basis, or it goes dead and there's no way to replace it except buy a new one.
Yeah,
I'd jump in here and just caution you that not everybody, Dennis, and I'd even go so far as to say you got a defective one. I've got 2 Apple Pencils and one of them is an alternate and one just sits in the drawer for sometimes 6 months at a time, but then I pop it out and it starts up fine. So like I said, I'd go so far as to say you might even had a defect, but I've never seen them not come back to life if, if they don't get charged. So I don't know. I guess people's mileage would vary there.
I've set mine a long time and it's come back. So I guess I'm lucky. So someone mentioned here, are the AirPods and Pencil charging by lightning plugs? So Dale, yes, they are. They're not, that's not inductive charging. So that makes that stand nice because it will work for all 3 versions of AirPods. Karen, you have a question? Go right ahead. Need to unmute yourself.
I do. This is really a very basic question, I'm sure. But I got a new iPad about 6 months ago. And every now and then I do something and I get 2 screens on a web page and I cannot figure out how to get rid of it.
Yeah, that's a feature.
Oh, wonderful. Well, for somebody with vision issues, I want to get as big as possible, but I can't get rid of it.
Yeah, you'll find there'll be a little bar around that second one.
Yeah.
And you can reduce it and then you swipe it off to the side and then you can force quit it away. But what I would say is just do a Google search for iPad and Pete, what do they call the double screen, split screen?
Split screen?
Yeah, well, Apple has a lot of marketing terms for that kind of stuff, like slide over, and there's a few terms for it. Yeah, split screen is a description of it, but there is a side by side is what iPad OS officially names it. But yeah, it's really just taking you're putting your finger right in the center divider and sliding one way or the other will basically eliminate one half and then just have you back to full screen.
The vertical divider.
The vertical divider, yeah. Put your finger on the center and just move it over to one side. And the closer it gets to the edge, the closer you'll be to eliminating it altogether. And at some point, it just disappears. Perfect. Or at least that's how it's supposed to work.
Thanks, Pete. And our last question from Bert.
Hi there. Yes, I don't know if this has ever happened to anyone else. I did type it in earlier today to submit it. My desktop looks like a mosaic quilt. And I just did a stupid thing, but I don't know how to correct it. I used my cable from my iPhone to the MacBook to try to transfer about 60 photos. And I put on photos and then saw the selection for the iPhone and clicked on that and clicked on export. Then I fixed a cup of tea and then I turned around. I had 3,000 mini photos on my desktop. Now, is there an easy way to correct that? Have you ever heard of that?
It could be, it should, they're on your desktop.
Yes.
Wow. It's like
Are you saying that the wallpaper has changed to an image of lots of little photos, or are you saying a bunch of files are now sitting on the desktop on your Mac?
They are images from my photos.
And are there many individual images littered across the desktop of your Mac, or do you see one image with a bunch of small images on it?
No, I think there are, I think there are 3,000 small images.
I'm impressed. Yeah, that's completely undoable.
Pretty tricky.
I'm not sure how you pulled that off, but if you figure it out, go on
rub
the
your
road
tummy and pat your head and
yeah.
Start deleting.
Yeah, that's something I'd want to troubleshoot personally, Bertie. That sounds. I'd really like to see that. If you could share your screen now, I'd ask you to. But if not, then yeah, that's something I'd like to really take a look at.
If they're still on her iPhone, then she's made copies of them and dragged them over.
Yeah, hopefully that's what
She can
happened.
just delete them.
And do you not have iCloud Library on?
I have iCloud on, yes.
iCloud Library?
Oh, I didn't know about that one. Is that in
Okay, well,
settings?
don't activate it now. I was just asking because if you're having to use your cable to get photos in, that's kind of cavemanish.
And yeah, and even if you did, Doug, to your point, even if she did grab 3,000 photos and accidentally move them from the Photos app to the desktop, there would have been a lot of signatures required. Like, all right, are you sure you're going to move these 3,000 photos from the iCloud photo library to your desktop? You would have had to approve that a couple of times. So that's weird. I'd really like to see what happened.
Yeah, we can maybe do a screen share on it later, Bert.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. So, normally we take a little bit of a break, but it really does kind of linger on. If anybody needs to take a quick break, go away. Otherwise, we'll just do a little chatter here and then we'll get ready with Pete and go, and feel free to ask some other questions. But, we can hold out. Got a few people evacuating there. So try to make it quick. It's 7:49, so no more than 5 minutes. And let's see.
And can Carlos change
Leave
his
your phone
name
here.
if he wants to be eligible for
Oh
the?
yeah, Carlos just went away, I think, didn't he? Oh, Carlos. Yeah, Carlos, tap your iPad and then go in the upper right corner where the 3 dots are and it says more, and rename so we can have your, you're one of our big raffle winners. If we don't have your last name, you can't be eligible for the raffle. Did you find where to rename it? Great.
And Ken, I just need a few minutes to.
Well, I'm going to do the mute really quick so you can.
Okay, great.
Do your screenshots. Everybody just hang on a second. I'm going to mute all. Oh, I'm muted now. Now it's good. Go ahead and do your screenshot now, you guys. Give me a thumbs up when you have your screenshots, Lisa and Mary. Okay.
We're good.
And Bob, please check. I sent you one email question, so if you can check that out.
Rich, your hand is up. Do you mean to go ahead and unmute yourself?
Mary?
Yeah, I've got a MacBook Air and I want a charger, an auxiliary charger to go on trips. So an Apple charger is like $75. There are chargers on Amazon for $30. So are they the same, or are they?
Let me
is the
ask
$30
you,
one?
are you going to be staying in your own RV or in hotels or what?
Hotels.
Yeah, so you don't care if it burns down, so just get the cheap charger.
That's pretty tight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do I make sure that the coupler is going to fit in the MacBook Air? Because every once in a while they change those little connectors.
Yeah. Well, if you put in if you go to the About This Mac
and get the vintage of your MacBook Air, it'll tell you the year, and then when you do the search for that, you can find out what it is. And I would definitely get a real Apple one. It's just not worth it with the what can happen.
Okay.
The other thing is you can put an extension cord on that, so you just take the little brick with you. It's not that big a deal. So, and
Yeah.
Cheryl had a question, but she left. Are you still there, Cheryl?
I'm here, Ken.
Go for it.
Jim Bean sent me a message that he's unable to connect, and I don't know what to tell.
I just sent him a message
Okay.
Okay.
with the correct link.
Yeah, and you could give them the manual in for it's my phone number and 333-999 is, oh no, it's different for this meeting, excuse me. So yeah, make sure he has the manual way in too. All right.
Mary, you said you sent me a note. I don't see one.
I sent it in the chat. I sent it twice, actually.
Third time's a charm.
Oh, answer's yes.
Okay.
Okay. So this is exciting because we have a new OS and we have Pete who just gets in and down deep, and he's got tons of things. We finally have Apple stuff to talk about. So there wasn't a better time to have him come, and I'd like to give a virtual big hug and a bunch of clapping for Pete Losey. And take it away, Pete.
Well, hello, everybody, and thank you again for having me out to, well, actually, I didn't go anywhere. So having me to this meeting to discuss the latest, which is iOS 14. I gotta say my favorite thing is it's like Christmas when iOS updates. It's just like Apple spends all year long building in new functionality and perfecting what's already been done, right? I mean, these iterations or these updates, there used to be marquee features, right? We used to wait in line for like Mac OS updates because, hey, this year they're going to have widgets, or this year there's going to be, I don't know, the new thing, right? It used to be much more of a marquee feature that would headline the release of an OS, whether it's Mac OS, iPad OS, Watch OS, iOS. There's so many OSs. Now, what I really love is the year of learning that Apple does and then syncs that learning into their devices on this cycle, right? They cyclically speaking, every year we have a iOS update. You'll see small ones throughout the year though, right? I mean, you see your phone will have an update throughout the year. Those are security fixes and various problems that they've been able to solve. They push out those updates. Believe it or not, in my case, the apple kind of fell far from the tree, to coin a phrase. My daughter is not ensconced in technology the way I am. So, we celebrate that difference. But a month will go by after an update has been released, and I'll go, hey, what's going on? Like I'll just notice on her phone or something that it's been months since the update's been released and she hasn't done it. And to her and to many people, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't even know there was an update or no big deal. That's fine, right? You don't have to rush to update. In fact, there's a philosophy out there that you should wait because everybody else will work out whatever problems are bound to be in these updates. And then once that's worked out, then you can update. But just something to think about here, the process or the way things used to be is different now. So they would release iOS or Mac OS, right? And immediately there would be some rumbling from the users about this thing doesn't work or that thing doesn't work or this printer broke. But what Apple has started doing or over about the last, I'd say 6 or 8 years, maybe 6 years, Apple has started inviting more and more people to be in their beta program. So whereas we used to have an OS release and then have to contend with a bunch of problems after the release, Well, in today's world, they bring a bunch of us on board to use it for a good couple of months before everybody else. So I'm one of those people that is signed up for the beta program. And anybody can sign up for the beta program. As long as you have an iCloud account, you can raise your hand and say, I want all the betas before they go public. I don't recommend that unless you have a device that's not critical. So if you have an old iPad laying around that you don't use much anymore, or if you have an old iPhone or a Mac or something that you can experiment with, then you may want to join the beta program. Again, anybody can do it. And it allows you to get the new OS updates much earlier than everybody else. You also get the problems associated with OS updates because we're sort of solving them for the broader audience once it releases widely. So yesterday's world, we used to see a lot of release and clamoring about these things don't work. But in today's world, the new way is to get a bunch of us testing it way before it releases. And when the release comes out, all the problems are smoothed out, we hope. There's still some though, like there's an app that I use quite often called Graphic. And sometimes when iOS updates, they take a few days before they update. So I really can't use it for that couple days. So all that to say, iOS or any OS launch is not without potential hiccups. However, the risk has been eroding year after year. And I would say that it is very low risk now to update the day that an update comes out. Is it still wise to listen and see what happens? Sure. If you're like that, I just happen to be unwise or impulsive and I dive right in. I'll even set my alarm for midnight to see if the update's ready. So I'm an update right away person. There are people who wait. My daughter is one of them. You may be too. But my recommendation is, though, if you're looking for a recommendation, get in there and update. Just update right away. Unless you run a multi-million-dollar business that relies on your phone, then just update. If you do run a multi-million-dollar business that relies on your phone, then wait, because you never know if a mission critical app will be broken. But if you're a regular person like me, I update right away. Having said that, iOS 14 has rolled out. I was here a couple months ago to tell you a preview, give you a little bit of a preview about what's going to be in there. And now here we are. And I'm excited to walk through some of the features with you live here. I'll share my screen and we'll walk through sort of like Apple's overview of iOS 14, just to touch on some of the things that they felt were important enough to splash up on the iOS 14 experience webpage. And then after that, we will open up iOS 14 and I'll show you the first few things I did and the first few things I recommend that you get in there and play with iOS 14. I'll pause there though, while I pull up the screen and we get ready to take a look at it and see if we have a moderator who sees maybe there's some questions in chat, or if anybody wants to put a hand. Oh no, we're on it in webinar. So yeah, if anybody wants to ask a question.
It's a regular meeting, not a webinar.
Regular meeting, got it, sure.
And I got to say that there's been very, very few complaints in online on this. This has been a solid release and it's pretty amazing. So no hands up. If anybody has any, he's going to go through it, but if there's any pending stuff, just put your hand up with the participant screen. And Pete, there was some bad latency. I don't know if you can do anything about it.
Yeah. Zoom is notorious for latency I when screen sharing and stuff. So sorry about that, but no, there really isn't much we could do.
Okay.
I could uncheck optimize for video, but then let me see. I don't really have any videos. Let me just try that. I'll uncheck optimize for video and see if that helps here, since I don't think I'll be sharing any video. Just do that. My new share here.
And I can't seem to spotlight you for some reason.
Oh,
which is weird.
Yeah, maybe is there a co-host or something who could try?
Yeah, Al, Bob, see if you can make Pete say spotlight.
You just click the ellipsis by my picture, or and then it should say spotlight video. But if it doesn't work, be sure anybody who's tuning in, be sure to look for the window with me in it, so you can see some of the stuff.
Spotlight.
What's that, Bob?
Say spotlight.
Spotlight. Boom. Did it happen? Is that all I had to do? Ask and you shall receive?
Yeah, that's
That was Ken's request.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, great. Okay, so, oh gosh, Zoom controls are here. Okay, let me just plug those in up here, get those out of the way. So here is Apple. I just wanted to kind of go to Apple's page here and just touch on some of the stuff that they list in the experience page, just so we can talk about it a little bit on an overview here before we jump in live and see it live. But some of the things are experience. Like one of the things that you'll notice if you take advantage of the features is that it definitely does feel like a new vibe without having to redesign everything. There definitely is a new vibe here, especially if you take advantage of some of the features, which I will walk you through here in a moment. But it is a totally new experience, some really useful experiences and some I didn't find so useful, but maybe they'll grow with time. And so looking at app library is the first one. We will come back to that. And that is one that I absolutely love. So in a moment, we'll come back to that. Messages. There are a couple of things that happen with messages that make me really happy. And one of them is pinning conversations. I'll walk you through this live here in a moment. Pinning conversations. The other one is mentions and inline replies. So yeah, check this out. I'll switch over and hopefully it'll just be easy to see kind of what I'm doing here. I've got my phone up and running here. So I'm just going to go through a couple of things. While we were on that screen, we were talking about messages and the ability to pin apps. So I'll open messages here. And I've pinned some people on my messages app. And you'll see here in a moment. But there's an unsung hero here too that wasn't even really called out at the keynote or anything. But if you take a look at this area here, upper left corner, you'll see something called filters here. Before I click that, I want to show you, if I scroll through here, this is all messages that are from all kinds of various places. Like here's Xfinity telling me I used my internet, and Vacaville Public Schools telling me something about the kids, and your order is arriving, and confirmation codes and all this stuff, right? There's just so many things that are in here. It becomes sort of like a junk drawer, just like the Photos app does if you take a lot of screenshots and stuff. But in that upper left-hand corner where it says filters, I can back out of there. And now it gives me some filtering where I just keep it on known senders now. That's what I stay on now, is known senders. Notice what's gone in my feed is all those verification codes or phone numbers or delivery notifications. And now it's just conversations and people I know. So I really like that. You can sort of filter out the stuff. Now, did you notice when I filtered everything out, there's a little one in the upper left-hand corner now? We've never seen that before in the Messages app. We've never had the ability to have filtered messages be broken out in this way. There used to be tabs across the top, but now we can go back and it'll show me that I have one message from an unknown sender. So you could do all though and combine them both, right? If you didn't care that your utility things are mixed in with your personal things, if it doesn't matter to you, then I would just opt for all messages here. But I keep mine on known senders. It just kind of cleans things up a little bit here in the chat. Now, pinning people, that's been fun. As you can see, I've pinned 6 people here. My wife, 3 kids, my mom, and my boss. So those are the people who are pinned here, and I can very quickly access their conversations just by tapping any of these. So it's been very convenient to have them pinned there. To pin somebody, I'm going to pin Lunchbox here. That's my son. We call him Lunchbox. I'm going to pin him. And to do so, I will put my finger on the message that I see in front of me and slide gently to the right. Notice when I did that, a pin appeared when I put my finger on the message and slid gently to the right. Now, if that isn't happening for you for some reason, if you're putting your finger on the message and it's opening or the screen is moving up and down, that means iOS is having trouble understanding or interpreting your touch. Just make sure you touch and swipe to the right, or touch and pull to the right on a message. That will reveal this little thumbtack. If I tap that thumbtack, you'll see that Isaiah's moved up to the top here now, and he's one of my pinned people here up at the top. And I think you can have 9. I have 7 here now. I could add 2 more, but I think I'll unpin Isaiah I'll show you how to unpin. I'll hold my finger down on Isaiah's image here in the top where the pinned conversations are, and I'll just choose the unpin option from here. And that will take him down off of the top, and I'll go back to my original 6. Why doesn't Isaiah make it in my top 6? Because we mostly are in family chat together with him. So he's the young one. So he doesn't need his own spot, in my opinion. So that is something new here going on with messages that I think is a pretty cool thing. Now, when somebody in your pinned people texts you, you can actually see their text messages appear as speech bubbles above their heads. So Ken, I'm going to pin you. And if you wouldn't, old photo, you might want to text me a picture to update your profile pic, but I'm going to pin you. And if you send me a text, then it'll sort of render right there so we can see what that's looking like. So here's Ken sending a text over. And now with these new pinned chats, you can see the incoming message sort of hovering right there. I'll give Ken a minute to send that. And then what I'll do here is dive into some messages here. Here's another thing I really like about this new messages is I am now able to scroll back here. I'm now able to go to any one of these messages. Here's a new one. I'm going to go to any one of these messages, and I can now scroll back a little bit. And do you see where Ken has texted me something here? Let's see, I'll scroll back. If I hold my finger down on any of Ken's messages here, there is a new option here called reply. We've never had that before in iOS. So this is something that will really help when there's something out of context, right? It's way back up in the scroll. Something you or somebody asked you a while back and you're just getting to it. Well, now you can hold your finger down on that message and use the reply command that you see here. That would signal to Ken when I type this what I was replying to. So I'll just type anything here, earlier message, something like that, and hit send. Now what happens is down at the bottom of the feed, Ken sees that. You see that dimmed out there, but Ken sees that. And he can see what I'm replying to now. So let me pause there for a minute. This is all new in iOS 14, but it gives you the ability to go back up, find a message that you want to reply to it, and that brings that both message and reply down to the focus so you can both see it. So let's check the chat. Any questions in there? Or anybody want to ask anything about that so far? Hey,
we have a hand up from Peter Killian.
Hello, hi.
Peter. Hey.
Yeah, I got a question in that I have a number of people in messages that I often have in group message, my family, my wife, daughter, and son.
Sure. Yeah. Like I have here, we call it family chat.
Yeah. I don't always do it with that. And so if I put them up there, pin them at the top, because I'm just seeing how this pinning works, would it still be able to get to those other messages, other groups that they might be involved in?
Yeah. Once you pin somebody, it really is not much different than just taking the conversation with them from the scroll here, right? Because we see tons of conversations going on. It basically just takes it there and elevates it to the top. So nothing changes except the way it displays to you.
So if I want them to be doing it, I would want to pin a group message up to the top then.
Yep, you would pin your group message up at the top, and then that way it would just always be accessible there for you to grab. Just makes it easier than having to scroll down and find it.
Yeah, because that's what I've been doing for a long time. Go down and find it, and if I want to send just one of them, I got to find just there.
Right. Yeah. Now you can pin them, and there's another thing you can do though. Like if you are in a group chat, like here's a group chat here. This is a chat. You can see there's 2 people in the chat here. Up at the top, you'll see their bubbles. In iOS 14, this changed a little bit. The bubbles now change based on what's going on in the chat. So you can see these two bubbles here, and one of them is larger, and that is because that was the last person to send a message. So that means that this person is most recently active. In some group chats, you'll have a really big bubble and other smaller ones. The biggest bubble doesn't always mean that's who sent the last message. It could also mean that's the person making the biggest contribution to the chat. But what's nice about this is if kind of back to what you were saying a moment ago, Peter, is you want to find and message just one person from the group chat. It's nice to be in the group, but you also want to kind of have a side conversation. You can now click up here where it says 2 people. If you're in a group chat, you can click up on that icon, and what will happen is that will allow you, a couple more icons here, but info is the one you're looking for. You can tap on info, and that gives both people here. So now I could go and send something in the chat to that person directly from here. I said a mouthful, but basically I was telling Peter, now you can go in a group chat, tap the top, you'll see a list of people in that chat, and directly message any one of them from the group chat if you want to do that too.
Along those lines, I have often gone back and tried to find some information somebody texted me, and I don't remember if it was in a text that came from just them or if it was in a text that they sent to a group of people. Is there an easy way to find the information I'm looking for?
No, now there sure is. Yeah. Here I'm back in my messages, and there's now that search bar at the top, and that thing is amazing. It will search inside conversations. So if I go to that search bar, just tapping on it alone starts to bring up things that are embedded in my chats. So let me repeat that. Just tapping on the search bar reaches down and brings up media that's in my chats. So if I look through here, you'll see that these are a bunch of things that have been shared with me at one point. But I can also click on the search box and just type a word, like I'll type zebra. And here back on 8/28, I was having a conversation with somebody where the word zebra appeared. So you can definitely search all your chats at the same time now using that little search bar at the top of the Messages app.
And back to the filters function, can you create categories of your own and put certain chats into those categories that you create?
Nope. No. Yeah, good question. Can we take those filters and can we make our own and kind of compartmentalize them? No, they don't allow that. It's just known and unknown senders.
Not yet. It may
right.
be coming.
Yep. Yeah, but yeah, remember contacts? We used to put our contacts in groups back in like Mac OS 9, System 9. We used to be able to group them, and then they took it away. But yeah, so that's some new stuff in Messages. I'm loving it. I think it's very cool. Let me hop back over. Where was I? Was I over here? Yeah. Am I on the right or left? Doesn't matter. I'll go on this side. Here, you got these pinned conversations. You also well, I don't know how, yeah, but yeah, it mentions, it's another thing I didn't show you here, but you can also in a group chat, like we were talking about a moment ago, if you're in a group chat with somebody like this one here, I can, if I want to type to somebody specifically in the group chat, right? This group chat happens to be 3 of us. This group chat could be 20 of us. It doesn't matter. But if I want to make sure somebody sees a message, right? Because if you've ever been in a group chat, sometimes you just get lost in the conversation. It's like, oof, I don't even want to follow anymore. It's too much and I'm busy. I got to get back to work or whatever. Well, in the new iOS 14, if you start with an @, so if I put the @ or ampersand, right? I can then call somebody out by name. Or I don't even think you need the @.
Wouldn't you do that in a search?
Oh, you know what? Sorry. When you mention their name, it's automatically done. Watch, I'll show you. I mixed it up with a different app, but let me just ask like this. If you ask somebody in the group chat, Alexia, how are you? And I hit send here,
It only goes to them.
No, it's supposed to highlight their name. I'll get back to that. I'll get back to that feature. But yeah, you can, there's now mentions in group chats. she replied, nice. Okay, so memojis are another, oh, she's asking me why I called her Alexia. Okay, well, just a test. Bye. In addition to that, the new memojis, speak up here for a minute. Let me hear from you. Anybody use these memoji things? Or, is it split down the middle? Or we some do, some don't, or waste of time? And I'm not talking about emojis like hearts and stuff that you put in your text messages. I'm talking about these little faces that you make that they're supposed to look like you. Anybody done that?
Yes, Pete, I do it a lot.
In fact, there's hers.
Yeah. I think it's cool.
Says she has.
Yes, Pete, this is Lisa. I use it.
Dale says he uses it.
And I tell you, I think a little bit of time, put a little bit of time in the thing, but you can get it looking enough like you where it's fun. You know, it's not going to be a replica or a spitting image or anything, but at least it captures some of your spirit or whatever. But I really like it. I think more people should use them only because it just sort of, I don't know, makes the photo more accessible. I especially don't like when people put a photo of like their dog or a beach or something where your profile should be, only because I think maybe 10 years ago, there wasn't such a human touch to all these things that we're doing. But now there's a really, I don't know, for me, a very human touch to all of this, where this now sort of slab of glass that I carry around is my connection to people. So if you are one who never really put in profile pictures or put a picture of your dog or whatever, try out the memoji, like maybe make yourself a memoji, and there's tons of different ways you can use these things, and they're just kind of fun. So they improved it in iOS 14. There's all kinds of combinations now with all different ways, and you can create a person. But what I like is they made it so you could look older, because it seemed like everything I made, I looked like a teenager or something. But now you can slide that old slider. I slided it all the way to the right, and now it looks better. So if you were waiting for that slider, there it is. It's been installed.
We have two questions. Cheryl first.
Yes, Pete, I went to the iMessages and I have iOS 14 downloaded. All I have on my text is edit and create messages. I do not have that blue bar that you showed us where you could fill the filter. I don't have that. I don't have a search bar.
Sure. Yeah. Let me go back here. Now, the search bar doesn't appear until I pull down a little bit. So direct your attention to the top of my screen where you see the word known up there. If I pull down a little bit, the search bar then reveals itself there. So that's the first thing is to find it, you just got to pull down. It's kind of hidden. And the second thing is if you do not see a 1 in the upper left-hand corner, that means you simply do not have an unknown text message. But the minute you do, it will appear. So if I were to text you right now and my phone number is not in your contacts, then it would show as an unknown person. You know, so you're receiving a text from an unknown person. So that should explain those things.
Pete, actually, there's more to this though. I also do not have the filter. I have, it just has the old edit and the on the left and the little, you know, new message on the right. So I think there must be some setting that allows you to do the filters that maybe we don't have on.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's I don't remember, but hey, a lot of stuff happened that I don't remember. So let's take a look at that. Let me go down to messages. And is there a filter switch? Probably. There it is. Look at that. I apologize. I usually try to set everything back the way it was before I do this, but you caught one. So how did let me just show you how I found that. I'm in the settings app right now, right? I just went to settings and I was able to scroll down to messages, which is quite a ways down now. Used to be closer to the top, but I scrolled down until I found messages. And in messages, you'll see that about in the middle of this sheet, you'll see one called filter unknown senders. Here it is. And that will make it so you have two separate buckets. You have the one where unknown things go and the one where your contacts go.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're
Huge.
welcome.
Thank you.
I'm really glad you called that out because I had forgotten that I had to activate that. And now that I remember having to activate it, I wanted to caution everybody, now that I've tested it for you, so to speak, but I wanted to caution everybody that it doesn't become obvious to you if a message comes in from an unknown sender. So there was a couple days that went by where I'm just scrolling through my messages, waiting for a message from somebody. And then it dawned on me that I have a filter for unknown senders. So it was somebody from the car dealership who wanted to get in touch with me about a car we're buying. Well, it went to unknown senders and I didn't see it for a couple of days. So I caution you that if you do flip that on, just be cognizant that it's there and keep your eye out for that little one in the upper left corner, because that's really your only indicator that something is in there. So.
And Pete, one thing that you have on that's usually not on by default is show subject field. So that may cause it to look a little different.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's another thing mine has this little subject line and yours probably won't. I never use it. So if you're wondering, subject line, that sounds interesting. That's also in the Messages app. It makes things look like this. Subject is bold. Message. My family's going to be like, why do you keep sending all these weird messages?
Yeah.
But if you look closely, and you really have to look closely, but the subject is bold, is in a bolder font, and the message is not, is in a lighter font. It's very subtle, but that is the purpose for subject in messaging. Is you look, he replied and said, okay, subject is bold, message is not. Okay. He's probably confused as heck. But anyway, if you want to turn it on, you can in the same menu we just were, the messages menu under settings. There's a little button that says subject line or no subject line. I've never used it intentionally or purposefully. I've never needed a subject for a text message. I have it turned on because I think it looks cool, but now that we're here, I'm going to turn it off just because it's been on for a year and I never use it. So turn it on, have some fun, but then didn't do anything for me. So here in messages, I'm going to turn off show subject field. Show subject field. And now it's gone. I also display message count. You can see when I'm typing here, I display character count on my, that's only for text. So there you go. Subject line solved. And I think the rest was solved there. Okay. Next, I wanted to look at, here's a couple of other marquee features I think might be nice. And maps and electric vehicle routing. This is super cool. Your trip can now be planned via Apple Maps app using electric vehicle stopping points. So you can say, all right, Maps, I want to go to Arizona and I want to do it with such a route that will stop me by all the charging stations. Very cool. I don't own a car that lets me plug it in, but has anybody used this feature where you navigate based on charging stations? Well, if you do, can't wait to hear about it when you do. And then here's this guides. This is kind of cool, but again, it's a thing you need when you need it, and when you don't need it, it's maybe not that cool. But major cities around the world are now covered by what Apple calls guides, and that's Apple's curated list of things to do. It's sort of Apple's very small boutique version of Yelp. They're basically gathering things, crowdsourcing things to do in a certain area like San Francisco or other major cities, and gives you a summary. With things like Yelp and TripAdvisor out there, it has some competition. I haven't been to a city yet that has it, but when I do, I'll take a look at it. This is the Translate app. This is another one of those things that sort of slip through without much fanfare, right? The Translate app here. But in my opinion, this was a very big breakthrough, the Translate app. I'll tell you why I think Apple did it differently than the competition. And here, I'll launch it. The Translate app, because of the power of Siri, now knows what language you're speaking. So you don't have to tell it. You can just tell it to listen. My son really likes the translator thing. He's into it. So if he hears a language he doesn't know, he asks me what it is so he can look it up in his translation app. That was before this came out. Now, if he hears a language he doesn't know, he just hits record or the, open mic button and it translates it for him. It listens and does a translation. So I'll just do a quick demonstration here. On this particular demonstration, I have chosen both languages. You can see here in this box here, I have chosen English and I've chosen to translate to, and you can do any of these languages. So far, you're probably going, well, Google has this and I've been using it for a long time and it's fine or whatever. But here's what I like about this version. I can just hit the button here to translate something. So I did from English to Japanese, and I might say, can you point me to the nearest train station, please? Right, something like that. And not only is it displayed there where I could show somebody if I needed to, if I was traveling abroad, there's also a play button. So it will take what I just said and ask them for me, type of thing. You can hit the dictionary button and it'll bring up a dictionary entry of whatever word you tap on. Right. So that's built right in, which I think is really nice. Obviously, Japanese isn't giving me the best sort of dictionary since I can't recognize any of the characters. But if this were something like Spanish, you could imagine. Let me just go here to Spanish, where words are probably a bit more familiar. And then here I could tap on any word and look, I get the dictionary definition right there. So it's just nice that that's built in.
Is that it's built into the 14, OS 14?
Well, this app itself did not exist before iOS 14. The translator app by Apple came out with iOS 14. There were other translator apps before this. There was one by Google that was very popular, and there were other third-party apps. But this is the first time Apple's ever done a translator app.
Yeah, Siri was doing translation previously. But I have a question. Do you know, this is probably all live. It probably is not going to download the language, correct?
No, it did. When I first launched it, it asked me, would I like to download? I don't know. It was some point, and maybe it was when I clicked on a certain language, it said, would you like to download this language? And it keeps it on device once you say yes. So if you do see that message of, would you like to download this? I recommend saying yes.
Yeah, because that's a way to use it without using data if you're in another country.
Absolutely. Here, I just want to note that the dictionary button has disappeared because all languages do not include a dictionary. So just depends. That was German and it did not, but here is French and it does. But here's another thing. Now, this is going to kind of muck up on my screen because it is going to be in landscape. So look, if I turn my phone, you'll see that it's messed up. Sorry about that. I need to make a landscape thing, but I want to make the point that if you turn the app in landscape mode, like you see here in this demo on Apple's webpage, if you turn the app in landscape mode, they call this conversation mode. The coolest thing about this is two people who do not speak the same language, a lick of the same language, can set this phone down on the table between them and just talk. Now, when I talk, it's going to translate my language to yours and show it on your side. When you talk, it's going to translate your language to mine and show it on my side. So to be able to set this device down and have two people who don't speak the same language have a conversation and look at this device to see what's going on, I cannot wait to try that out. That sounds like a really cool way to be able to finally communicate with somebody for the first time non-verbally easily, right? It's difficult if you don't have something like this, but to be able to set this device down and get like a little ping pong of conversation going on based on the device's translations, I'm thinking that's going to open some doors for some people. I like it. You've also got favorite translations and stuff. You know, if there was one that you want to save, you can favorite any of the translations. There's also one called attention mode, and attention mode makes it so it gives you this nice bright blue background with the statement or whatever you've selected big and bold. So you could really, you know, if it was urgent, you could hold this out and get somebody's attention that way. Cool things there. Siri has changed a bit where Siri's new compact design, you'll notice that Siri is a little ball now down in the kind of lower center of the screen instead of it taking over the whole screen. I really like this. It took me a minute to get used to because before when you invoke Siri, then the entire screen would sort of be monopolized by Siri, which was super annoying if you were driving or something and you used hands-free to say, ahoy, Siri, take me here, take me there, then the whole screen goes blank and you could miss your turn off. But now Siri's relegated to a little dot at the bottom when you activate or invoke Siri, which I think is cool. Another thing that's cool is if you're doing something on your phone, it used to be that if you got a phone call, the entire screen was taken up by the phone call, but now it just sort of drops in from the top quietly and you're able to either dismiss it if you don't want to take the call, or you can take it. But the important thing is your whole phone screen doesn't get swept away by the phone call. You get to stay on what you're doing. And then some enhancements to Siri. Of course, yeah.
Okay, I've had that happen, but I can not find an easy way to get it into speaker mode when those calls come in.
Oh, okay. Ken, would you mind calling me? Are you easy to just dial me up? Let's see what happens here. I'm on my phone and let's see, I'll go browse the web here and see what's going on with Woot. Some good deals. Waiting for a call from Ken here. Aha, so Ken just popped in there from the top. Now I could dismiss it just by flicking it up. No, I don't want to talk to Ken type of thing. Or pulling down will take over the whole screen like it used to. So you can flick up or pull down. And then if I accept the call, now you've got that audio button there that you can launch. Now, Ken, if you don't mind calling me again, I want to demonstrate more what she was just talking about. Go ahead and call me back. To your point, unless you swipe down on the phone call to make it go full screen or switch over to the phone app, it will be more difficult to switch to speakerphone. Let me show you what I mean. Here's Ken calling again. This time I'm just going to go ahead and answer it right from this notification. Remember, I could swipe it up to get rid of it, swipe it down to make it go full screen, but I'm just going to hit the little green button there. Now notice we stayed on the, we stayed on that little top piece. Well, let me see, we'll go back. We stayed on that little top piece there until I tapped it. Now, when you tap it, it opens up to reveal all of the controls that you might expect. But to the point, there you go. But to the point you just made, they're abbreviated in the beginning. So just swipe down if you want to see them, and then they'll be. You could also just switch over to the phone app, which is running in the background somewhere. But easiest just to swipe down if you want to get that full screen.
Yeah, and this is great because you can continue to do other things where from the early days of the iPhone, it wanted to take over with whatever it was doing. And so it really is. And how often do we get phone calls anymore?
Right. And as an iPhone user I'd say over the past 10 years, it's only happened to me like a dozen times, but it's always at the worst. It's like, oh my gosh, I was just about to hit send on my trivia question for a game, or it's like always something where I'm like, now I can't get to the button unless I answer this call. I do not want to answer this call. I'm really glad they built that in. Okay, Siri's got a bunch of more facts. The home automation app is just very cool. Always was, in my opinion. iOS 14 brought some minor enhancements. Quite honestly, between you and I, I'm a bit disappointed with the rate at which they have developed the home ecosystem. It seems like it's still quite behind. There's lots I think can and should be done that aren't. But if you're not into home automation yet, dive in, especially this holiday. There are going to be a ton of home automation type things on sale this holiday, because this will be the first holiday really that home automation is now mainstream.
Hey, Pete.
Yeah.
A quick question, maybe along the home automation lines. I noticed there on your previous segment about the incoming calls for on the phone. I saw your option. One of them was kitchen. Is that like a home pod you have in your kitchen?
Absolutely, yeah.
You have to set that up via HomeKit or
no. Yeah, what Al is pointing out there is that we have here, let me see, who can I call who doesn't usually answer? This one here. I'll make this phone call, but you can see if I tap the audio button now in iOS 14, a menu comes up. If you happen to be in a home where there are home pods, this home happens to have two, one in the kitchen, one in the loft, I can transfer this call to any of those pods. So if I am in the kitchen cooking and I want to be hands-free, I can sort of toss this call over to the home pod, and the home pod is Apple's speaker, right? It's a speaker that you can use to play music or take calls, or it's a smart speaker. So there's two of those in the house, and you can easily pass your phone call over to it.
And you get to pick which one if you're in the house.
Yeah, you see here, I can just tap on either of those. And the microphones are really good, so the callers can usually hear really well. So if you haven't used your HomePod to place a call, you can even just, here's another thing I like is, here's this true story. The other day I was down leaning, pulling the stove out so I could see that little plate that has the serial number, and it had a phone number for service on it. And I was on my knees behind, in a very tough spot in the kitchen, trying to find that little label with a flashlight. And then I just yelled out to my HomePod to dial that number, and it did. And then I pushed the stove back, and I was connected with the person on that number, which is the service for the stove. It's just kind of remarkable. Don't forget, and I forget sometimes, with a HomePod in your house, you can just kind of yell things at it, and lots of cool things can happen. I can open my garage door with the HomePod. If somebody knocks on the door, I can tell my HomePod to unlock it so that people can get in. Lots of fun things to do with HomePod, and taking phone calls is one of them, in case you forgot. You can also just yell at your HomePod, call my mom, and then they'll call your mom.
Hey Pete, that's do you have to set any profiles or for different members in the household, or something like that?
Yeah, just to get a little bit more advanced on HomePod is now HomePod can recognize different voices, and anybody in your iCloud family can be added as a family member and then recognized by the HomePod. So the way to test this is, if you have a HomePod, walk up to it and say, "Who am I?" You have to say, HEY Siri. I don't say it here because it'll trigger everybody's device, but just walk up to your HomePod, say that, and then say, "Who am I?" Now, when I do it, it says, I'm talking to Pete right now. So it knows who I am. When my wife does it, it says I'm talking to Alexia. That's how you want to test and see if your HomePods are tracking with that. If you're not having that voice recognition thing turned on, it's in the Home app. So you could always go in there and then switch that on in the Home app. But the Home app is one of the things that I just wish they'd move a little bit faster on. Yes, turning on lights and stuff is cool. But now HomeKit supports cameras, and there's a couple of great cameras out there that you can use with HomeKit. I personally will not buy another camera, and I own just about every brand. I just got the Wise Outdoor. I backed them on the Kickstarter. I love these cameras, but I will never buy another one that isn't HomeKit compatible. Just there's no reason why these cameras can't be HomeKit compatible, and it's for your privacy is the real reason that you want that, and the convenience of having it too. Now with HomeKit cameras, I can tell my Apple TV at any time when I'm watching TV to show me what's on the camera. So here I am watching television, immediately switch to a full screen view of an HD camera of my front door. So I can always tell. If I get a notification on my watch that says motion detected at the front door, I tell the TV to show me, and there it is. Amazing stuff.
We have a question from Keith, and I don't think this can happen, but can iOS 14 sound be sent to send Siri or Maps directions audio to be sent to both iPhone speaker and hearing aids set to iPhone via Bluetooth?
No.
Good. Hey, I bet you a quick Google search will lead us somewhere. Maybe not the direct answer, but probably a forum or something, or Reddit. I don't know the answer to that. I've never experienced the hearing aid with phone thing, but
isn't there a new thing where you can have two sets of AirPods connected to one phone?
AirPods, yes. I don't know.
I think that's only an AirPods thing.
Yeah, because it has that W chip in there, it's able to do that.
Yeah. Keith, I don't think so, but yeah.
Not unless it has that W chip in there. So I'm a huge fan of the home automation ecosystem. I highly recommend it for everybody because it is way more than just convenience. I mean, having your lights or your thermostat or your sprinkler system all be controlled by things that know additional information. Like my sprinklers don't go on if it's too moist outside. Like that right there, it's paid for itself, in my opinion, after a year of them not coming on because it rained. and I saved all that water, then I don't know, it kind of paid for itself. So home automation, been a ton of fun. This thing, you can see here, here's iOS 14's home automation app, and some of the different, icons at the top show you lights that are on, and these are all the various rooms in the house and stuff. Some rooms have a ton of lights in them or cameras, and it very nicely organizes everything. Like this is my kitchen. In the kitchen, we have all these lights, a home pod, a thermostat, and a camera, and they're all just here on the screen, very easy to access. So this holiday, home automation will definitely be mainstream. How do I know? Well, I'm in the industry, one, but number two, just walk into your local Best Buy. There are now 6, count them, 6 aisles of home automation stuff. You want to know how many aisles of mice and keyboards there are? 1. There's 6 aisles of home automation things. So mainstream this year. If you haven't dove in, check it out. A couple of smart bulbs, maybe some light strips or a thermostat, but it's so convenient. And the fact that it can be controlled by something smarter than you, like the internet, which knows it's going to rain tomorrow, so shuts off your sprinklers, or knows it's going to be cold tonight, so turns your heat down, or whatever or heat up, or whatever the case is. Just cool stuff. Okay, moving on here. I always try to cram so much into one thing here. Safari has got some improvements, and maybe not too much worth staying here too long and noting, but you see this little these little letter A, this little thing. You see that every day and you forget all about it, but tap that every now and then, because there's some cool options here. You can request desktop site. You can request mobile site. You can translate to English if it's not in English. You can set some settings or find out what kind of information this website is getting from you. Tap that thing, because there's some fun stuff in there. And if nothing else, show reader view, because show reader view will take your breath away. You go to a website with a super busy article and the ads are flashing and you can boxes are popping up. You hit that reader view and everything's gone except the article and the photo. It's amazing. So don't forget about that little thing there. It's not new in iOS 14, but it gets forgotten about a lot. Safari, you're probably getting a lot of warnings these days that your password is being used on a lot of websites, and to change it, basically that's iOS 14 reminding you that using the same password on multiple websites isn't the best practice. I do it. It isn't the best practice, though. That's a diligent reminder. However, I think it's unrealistic to have a unique website or a unique password for every website you go to. Now, you can have a password convention where you say, okay, this will be my password, and then I'll add a series of numbers or letters on the end based on what website it is or whatever. But CarPlay has been upgraded. This whole unlock and start your car with your phone. I just bought a new car and it does not have that in there. I'm so sad, but it does have CarPlay. CarPlay is also incredible. If you have a car that supports CarPlay, but you just haven't got around to using it yet, you are missing out on a whole world of ability to operate your device safely via voice while driving and being able to see on that nice big screen in your car. CarPlay requirements are that you do have a very large touchscreen in your car. So really, cars manufactured in the last 4 years or so have CarPlay commonly. But I just bought a car a couple days ago. It's the first car I've ever owned with CarPlay in it. Amazing. I just set my phone down on this little pad. It's built into the car, charges with no plugging anything in, and connects to the car, and then the phone's running the car. Super cool. All right. And then, oh yeah, there's CarPlay in action on a dashboard there. You may have CarPlay capability in your car. There is a list online, so you could Google it. CarPlay is the name of the property. So you'll Google CarPlay and then your car's make, model, and year. But yeah, it may be compatible. And some cars do it with a wire. It's not wireless, but you have to find a USB port, plug it in your phone, and then your phone appears on the screen.
And there's occasional times when the car may have not come with it initially, but there are updates to it. A friend that has a Hyundai Tucson, that sure enough, it was it came up a year later and it was free.
Yep. Love it. Let's see. AirPods, yeah, some cool app clips. This is something I haven't had an opportunity to use yet. They call it app clips. I'll probably call it like, I don't know. It's like a light version of an app. Like for instance, if you've ever seen, and it's a good example what they have on the screen here now. If you've ever seen these little scooters, hey, where do I'm like a weatherman. I never know where this. If you've ever seen these little scooters, my wife and I were in Seattle. We saw them. We wanted to ride one. Then you had to download an app, and the app was taking forever to download. And we just sort of said, forget it, and we moved on. But with this solution, this is Apple's solution where instead of having to download the app, a little tray will slide up saying that you don't have the app needed for this, but we can bypass you. You don't need the app. If you just pay with Apple Pay here, we'll give them the money for you, type of thing. So it is a convenient way to bypass apps that are required for some things. I don't see this being used very often. I mean, a couple years ago, they released something like this for baseball stadiums and stuff, where it would guide you through based on checkpoints in the stadium and stuff. Never really went anywhere. I think people just forget about it, and it doesn't excite anybody. This is cool. I hope it goes somewhere. I hope it catches on. But
does it ask you for location permissions and all the same kinds of things, or is it pretty much just operating on the surface?
All the same privacy, it respects all your privacy settings and stuff. So it would ask if you told it to, but it is based on location. It says, oh, I see you're near this parking garage. If you'd like to skip the machine and just pay with your phone, feel free to click here. It'll show you opportunity. What I like about it is you may have not even known. Like I used to go visit my daughter once a week, and we park in this parking garage, and every day I had to take the ticket, bring it to the machine, or every time I went, I didn't realize there was an app, and you could download the app, and as you drive up to the thing, it just debits your app for the money. It was so convenient. So once I did that, but I didn't know about it for the longest time. What this is designed to do is pop it up and remind you. Like if you are at this parking garage, it will now pop this little tray up and say, you can use an app for this. So kind of an ad telling you, don't forget there's an app for this, but also making things convenient for you. Okay, this is a big one. This is nothing new for Mac users, but it's something new to iOS users. And that is, we will now have a visual indicator anytime your camera or microphone is being accessed by any application. This is huge. I don't know why we didn't have this earlier. I'll give you a trivia tip here. Did you know that your Mac has a camera, right? The FaceTime camera, they call it. Your Mac has a camera, and that camera cannot function without that green light being on. Apple hardwired that green light. In fact, they can't. They have forbid app developers from operating the camera without a light on. Now, there is a toggle switch where you can tell Apple you want it off for whatever reason, like you wanted the camera to be on but the light to be off, but it is only with your permission. No app can control that. Well, they finally built that into the phone now. So if your camera or your microphone on your phone is being used, you will now see this little orange, it's right about up here. But you'll see an orange or a green dot, depending on if it's the microphone or camera. And you see that up there. If I turn my phone on and I open up the camera, that dot will appear. Yours will too. Go ahead and open your camera and take a selfie and look in that upper right-hand corner, and you'll see that little orange dot. And that is there to indicate to you, or a green dot. The orange one is microphone, the green one is camera, sorry. But the green dot will indicate to you that your camera is in use. Good to know, because there were times when I wasn't sure if the camera is seeing, like I'm on Zoom, but I'm like, it says there's no camera on, but now I can just look in that upper right-hand corner and the indicator will glow green if the camera is on, and it will not if it's not. Okay, let's go back over here. There was a couple things I said I would get back to, and these are going to be some fun things. We've got a few minutes here to go through these. One is App Library. Now check this out. We used to have pages and pages and pages of apps, right? Or I say we used to, some of us still do. But they've come up with a new way to mitigate this problem, and I'm here for it. I'm a big fan. Let me show you how they did it and see if you like it. Now, what I'm going to do is rearrange my home screen. You know how to do that, where you hold your finger down on an app and they all start wobbling around, right? Edit home screen. They all start wobbling around. Now, and you can rearrange the apps, or you can, you can delete an app, just that hasn't changed. This is still the same. Except now, if you tap this is now a button. It never was before, but this is now a button. And if you tap that button while you're in this mode, you will get all of your pages of apps shown to you, right? These are all your pages of apps. So if you are following along, I'll give you a second to digest that, but that's showing you all the pages of apps that you've created over the years. You might have 2, you might have 30. I have a few here. You can check and uncheck those now. So if I uncheck them all and hit the done button, right? I've just unchecked them all and I'll hit the done button. I now only have 1 page of apps. That's it. Look, there's no dots down here and there's nowhere for me to go, but I only have 1 page of apps. 2 weeks ago, this would have scared the heck out of me because I'd be like, where did all my apps go? But what I like is, here's how I do it, and everybody will be different. Some of you might not change a thing. Some of you might change everything. What I do is I make 1 page of apps of all my frequently used apps throughout the day, apps that I simply cannot get away without. And then there's a new thing now called the app library. So when I swipe left, instead of seeing pages and pages of apps, this new property in iOS 14 is called app library. It's kind of like the Dewey Decimal System for apps, I guess, where I can now scroll down and see all of the apps that are installed on my device, right? Just by scrolling, I can see them. If I scroll or if I pull down a little further, then it'll go, right? I'm just pulling down a little further. You see how I'm doing that? It's like I'm grabbing and pulling towards the bottom, and what it's doing is turning into a list. So now it's turned into a list of apps where I could scroll through, and this happens to be all the apps that are installed on my phone. So you can do this now too. I'll do that again in case you missed it. Here I am on my home screen, and I'm scrolling this way to bring open the app library. Now, if you still have pages and pages of apps, it'll take you until you get to the end. Then you'll have your app library. So if you still have 5 pages, go through those 5 pages, but then the very last one on the right will be the app library. For me, it was a compelling argument to get rid of all those pages, because now I have the apps I know I'm going to use every day, and there they are on my home screen. And if I need anything else, I just flip over to app library. Now, what app library has is suggestions in the upper left corner, and suggestions are based on my usage patterns. If every day around 9 p.m. I get in bed and open Safari, Safari is going to be in suggestions then. And then there's recently added for the ones I've used recently. Now, the app library screen that you see here has a unique convention that we've never seen before in iOS. You see these big buttons that almost look like a, what is it, an eighth of the screen here, these sort of big buttons. 3 of them are launchers, and 1 of them is a summary. And let me show you what I mean. Let's just take this one right here. This one, productivity and finance. 3 of these are buttons because they're full size, and we can see the app icon full size. But 1 of them is an index. So I could easily launch these 3, the mail, the Zoom, and graphic. Or I can open up this whole productivity and finance category by tapping on this 4th option. So I'm going to tap on that, and that got me into this little folder of all these apps that are dedicated to productivity and finance. So if you're like me, you tried your hardest to organize your apps into folders and all that stuff. And if you had an app out of place, if you're like me and it bothered you, then you put it right back in the folder that belonged. But now with App Library, it's all managed for me. I didn't create this. It's all automatic. And if I'm looking for something, I can just search here at the top under App Library. If I'm looking for the Reddit app, I just start typing. There it is. I can launch it right from here. So that's how I launch apps now, using the app library and only 1 page of apps. Last thing I want to show you before we wrap up, that is widgets. And widgets for those who do have many pages of apps, and I'm going to open up some of my pages, right? I took them away earlier, but if I go back to the edit home screen, I use this little thing down here as a button. I'm going to tap it, right? If I tap that, I'm going to bring my pages of apps back so we can have some fun with widgets. I'll just check 6 pages or so and hit done. Now look what I've done. I'm back to the old way where I just have pages and pages of apps like this. Ugh, I don't even like looking at it anymore. Can't wait to get rid of that. Now I have the freedom to add these things now called widgets. So if I scroll a little bit further this way, right, I'm going to push to the right, right? Just a little swipe to the right. I get this screen here. And if you're following along, I'll give you a second to ask a question if that didn't happen for you or you got stuck. But if you swiped over from the left side of your screen to the right in a little swipe, you should have got this, or something that looks like it might be a little bit different. But down at the bottom of this menu, it says edit. So wait, where was I? Okay, down at the bottom of that little new menu says edit. I'm going to tap on edit there, and that takes us to the widget editor. And one of the visual indicators that you're in the editor is that they're all sort of wobbling. So we know we're in the editor. In the upper left, there's a plus. I'm gonna tap that plus because here's the widget menu. Now this is super cool. Spend some time in here because you might just have some fun creating your own widgets. But this is the widget menu. And this is Apple reaching into your phone, finding all the apps that participate in widgets, because not all of them do, only some of them write code to make a widget, just like only some Apple Watch apps write code to make a complication. It's the same type of thing here. So the companies whose apps you have downloaded that did take the time to write the code for a widget, you'll find it here. So I did the plus in the upper left-hand corner, and I'm looking through here. And here I scrolled a little too hard. I find a ratio. You see here, I've got ratio. That's my sprinkler, my smart home sprinkler app has a IMDb has one here, Google, Widgetsmith. I'm just looking through and I see lots of fun stuff here. But what I want to do is have my photos as a widget. So I scrolled all the way down till I saw photos. You see it there? I scrolled down till I saw photos. Now I'm going to tap on photos. And what the widget editor does is when you decide on the app that you want to make a widget out of, it says, okay, great, photos, we'll make a widget. Do you want it small, medium, or large? So you get 3 choices. So here it's showing you small, but if I swipe, that's what medium will look like. And then if I swipe one more time, that's what large will look like, right? So small, medium, large. I'm just going to do this medium one. I'd like to try it out. So it looks cool. I'm going to say add widget. And then it just sort of plops it down in my widgets. So there it is in my widgets, right? So now if I'm on my home screen and I scroll over to the left, I have this photos widget here. And what good is a photos widget? Well, I'll show you. So let me drag that onto my home screen. I'm going to put my finger down on that widget. Oops, sorry, there it is. And put my finger down on that widget and hold until it starts wobbling. There it's wobbling. Now I'm going to drag it over here. And this widget can now be a part of my home screen. So whereas we used to just have apps before on the home screen, you now can take a widget. And remember, I'm going to go back to the widget editor. That's so hard to say, widget editor. I'm going to go back to the widget editor to show you how many possibilities there are for widgets. I mean, look at all these apps that you could make a widget out of. So let's say you're somebody who does a journal entry every day and you like your journal entry to be right there front and center. You can use the Day One app for that. You somebody who likes to access recipes quickly, easily. There's a widget for everybody, I think. But once your widget is in there, especially, I'm going to make a compelling case to do a photos widget, and then I'll be quiet here because I know we got to move on. But here's a compelling case to do a photos widget. If you've been taking care of your photo app, meaning that you go in there and you occasionally tell the people album who's who. I go in there and I say, all right, let me confirm additional photos of my daughter, or my wife, or my kid, other kids. I go in there and do that. And so what Apple has done is taken the photos on my phone and figured out who everybody is. This is amazing. It wasn't until I started using it that I really got a kick out of it. Apple now knows who everybody is on my phone. And what it does is it takes the pictures of the people it knows I want to see and puts them right in that box. So every time I open my phone, it's one or all of my family of 5. And Apple also knows how to get the cropping right to be their faces. And Apple won't use a picture that doesn't look good in that little hole there. So this widget really has turned out to be my favorite thing about iOS 14 so far. I unlock my phone and that thing always has a different picture in it that is somebody I like. That's the important part, is that it's it's a family member. And so I can tap on it and see that photo when it was, or share it with whoever that was. And, I've done that with my family a few times. Hey, mom, sisters, remember this photo? It popped up on my screen. So if you don't have, if widgets aren't something that excited you, photos might be. So get over into widgets, make a photo one, put it on your home screen and leave it there for a day or two. If you like it, send me a PayPal for 10 or 50 bucks. If you don't like it, delete it. Done. That's widgets. And that was a mouthful. Did I get to everything? Or maybe I disconnected like 40 minutes ago. Let me check in. Everybody still there?
You betcha.
Okay. Well, there's a tour of iOS 14. Certainly not all of it. My favorite part about iOS updates is still the fact that all of the learning a multi-billion-dollar company did, or trillion, or I think we're reaching trillion, but whatever, a trillion-dollar company, all the learning they did in a year gets poured into an update, and I get to benefit from it. So it's really fun to update. You'll notice extra stability and speed and security and little features, and I highly recommend it. So that's my iOS 14 overview and tour, some of my favorite features, and happy to stick around and answer some questions, or I know I went really long like I always do. Sorry about that, but
we're good.
No, you're actually still pretty good. We're gonna, so if we could probably take 2 or 3 questions right before the raffle, otherwise have to hold it till afterwards. So if anybody has questions, feel free to tap your participant screen and say raise hand or unmute your mic and come up. But first of all, a big virtual round of applause for Pete. That was awesome. And yeah, widget, what was it? Widget, digit, what?
widget editor. Yeah, widget editor.
Anybody has any question, raise your hand or unmute your mic. We got time for a couple here right before we move to the raffle. Rich Pearson has a question. Go ahead, Rich.
Sure.
Yeah, would you show the icon for that Translate app that you talked about?
Of course. Of course. And like the other thing you guys caught me on, I am now not trusting my memory of whether or not that was on after the iOS 14 update, or I had to go get it. I think it was just on there. Does everybody have the Translate app? I'll show you what the icon looks like. Here, let me go back to my share.
It's on there.
Yes, it's there.
Okay, you didn't have to go get it.
Download it.
And it's this black one here. Now this white one is Google's.
No, it's the one on the left.
Yeah, the black one. The white one is Google's, and the blue one is a third party that I went and found a while back. But it is this new black app with a globe and 2 speech bubbles. And that's what you're looking for.
Itchy.
Okay.
And when you activate it on the bottom, it asks you if you want available for offline languages, and those are the ones that won't use that. And actually, there's automatic detection, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like somebody can just start speaking in their native tongue and it'll figure it out and translate to you because it knows you speak English. It's really a remarkable piece of technology, and it's understated. I mean, they didn't talk much about it. They showed it a little bit on the thing.
Hey, Pete.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, in that Translate app, I was playing with it today. When you're done with your session, how do you just clear the screen? Wasn't anything intuitive, or you just quit the program and it clears?
Oh, are you saying when it's when you're in the sideways mode with the conversation mode? Yeah, I find when I quit the app here, let me see, I'll try that. Quit the app and then go back in. No, it's still there when I quit the app. Maybe it's after a certain amount of time, or it detects that you're no longer in that location. But well, I see that here. And it yeah, I've never come back and seen anything there. So it leads me to believe that, oh, there it was. I just swiped down. Oh, I see, Al. Here it is. It's a little bit odd, but you see where it says enter text here?
That's where you can begin anew?
No, what I did was I just put my finger right there and swiped up, and then that let me start over. You see, now I'm back to,
oh, okay.
I'm back to sort of the text entry screen like this, where yeah, so it just allowed me to start over by swiping up from the bottom there.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yep. Are you okay to stick around for a couple minutes while I do the raffle, Pete, or you need to jet? Well, we can get one last question let's do
one more.
Anybody else? Any questions? Hey, looks like it's pretty good. And all of this is recorded, so you guys can go back over it because I know I'm gonna need to. So perfect. Thanks, Pete.
You're welcome.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right. So let's oh, go ahead, Dennis.
No, I could say thank you, Pete.
Oh, yeah. Thanks very much, Pete.
Absolutely. Yeah, my pleasure as always.
Okay, so here's what we've got we're doing 2 $200 iTunes gift cards, 4
I'm sorry, not iTunes, Amazon gift cards, and 4 $25 ones, and then we're doing a third $100 gift card that goes to the entire membership. The first 6 prizes are only to attendees that are members. That's why we needed everybody's last name. So we have a total of 52 members that were in attendance. So we're going to draw them first, and then we'll do the last one. The last $100 card goes out to the membership, and that's 372 people. So I will pull my screen up so you guys can all see Siri work, and it's going to generate the number for us. All right, so let's go back. Amazon off. Okay, so first ones are, the first 4 are going to be for the $25 gift card. Give me a random number between 1 and 52.
It's 46.
46. So Lisa and Mary have the list. Who's 46?
Raymond Chung.
Okay, and if you guys can keep that for me and get it to me afterwards, because I'll email those out tonight. Give me a random number between 1 and 52.
The answer is 1.
Wow, that's a first.
Well, that's Lisa Goodwill.
All right. Hey, we haven't had any board member win in quite a while. So the other thing is, if you win a 25, everybody's still in the mix. If you win a 100, we have to raffle back off your 25 because you don't get both of them. So let's see here. Give me a random number between 1 and 52.
That would be 46.
Oh my gosh. Nope, you don't get it twice, and that's really weird. Somebody has to calculate the odds on that. So that's a no-go. Give me a random number between 1 and 52.
That would be 28.
28 for our third $25 card.
Jennifer Kerr.
Jennifer Kerr, congratulations. You'll be getting an email later. It's not spam. It'll be saying you won a gift card. Okay, our last of our 25s, unless it's a number that we've already drawn. Give me a number between 1 and 52.
It's 52.
50. Now, how weird is that? We did 1 on one end and 52 on the other. Who we got?
And that's Jim Deshawn.
All right, Jim Deshawn. So we're moving on to the $200 ones. Give me a random number between 1 and 52.
That would be 43.
Wow, near the 46 that we did already.
Pat Turner.
Pat Turner, great. And I have one more $100 gift card for those in attendance, right? Yeah.
Right.
Give me a random number between 1 and 52.
It's 48.
Wow.
Wow. All right.
Roy Chastain.
Okay, fantastic. So now the next one is going to it's a $100 gift card that goes to the entire membership. And obviously, if you won a $100 gift card already, you can't get a second one. Give me a random number between 1 and 372.
The answer is 305.
305. This will take a minute for him to find it.
You need to scroll. That's Judy Williams.
Judy Williams. All right. And she was not an attendee, I assume.
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right, everybody. So I'll leave the meeting up for a minute so you guys can chat with one another if you want. And if there's any other questions come up, and this is being recorded, all the links, the wonderful links that Al got for us will be available. Bob will send them out in an email blast that'll probably go out tomorrow, I believe. So anybody else pipe in? Any questions, comments? Happy to hear it. Go right ahead.
Ken, I presume you have Roy's email?
Well, yeah, you got the email to be here tonight, I think. So hopefully we did.
No, I had to go on to the website to link in.
Well, I think we've got your email. So if not,
Got everybody's email.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else, any other questions? And thank you for coming. We had 55 at the high point tonight, I believe.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, you stayed up.
I did. Bye-bye.
Good job.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Pete. It was a great meeting.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks.
Take care. Karen, I like your memoji. I got to make one.
Okay, Ken, I'll email you the list of the winners
I would appreciate that. And
with the things.
with
Mary,
the
is that
email
going to include
address,
the all
yes, please.
members?
Or you can
Yeah.
just, if you
Oh.
haven't marked on the sheet, however it's easiest for you.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
actually, if it's, are they handwritten or are you going to copy and paste them from the spreadsheet?
Yeah, probably.
Perfect, because
Mhm.
then I can just copy and paste them right into the order. And Lisa, I'll make sure
Okay.
I try to do the debit card this time.
Well, if not, I will, I'll pay you via Apple Pay this time.
That's fine. No, I
Let's
think
try
that
that. See which one's faster.
yeah, it's not as late as it was. So anybody else, any other questions? Thanks for attending and we will see you later. And Norm is like, looks like upside down all around. We're getting motion sickness looking at him. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't jump. You'll hit the fan. All right. Okay, everybody.
Okay.
Nothing else. I'll go ahead and end the meeting. Thank you.
Right.
See you later, everybody.
See ya. Somebody's got a phone ringing.